This is All About Home Construction. And here's your hosts, Terry Cannell Beck and Randy Blake.
That's right. Good morning, Randy.
Morning, Terry.
That's right.
And everybody out there.
Happy Saturday. All of our listeners out there.
Hey, it's a great Saturday. We're live.
It's a beautiful Saturday, too. It's a beautiful weekend. Sunny skies, really, for the next week. So, be a good week for you to get some hay cut.
You know what? It took me over 2 weeks to get the parts for that mowing machine.
Oh.
Because how many people's got 462 disc mowers out there?
Well, apparently not a lot of people besides you.
Well, there was a lot of them made, but they're starting to discontinue the parts on them. I actually went 3 weeks trying to find the main pulley.
Yep.
The big pulley. And I finally found it in Nashville, and it's $700.
Oh, a nightmare.
And
Nightmare.
So I really think we had a flaw in it from the gentleman that did the work before.
Oh, really?
And it was a snap ring that broke, caused it all to fail.
Well, there you go. Well, hopefully it's fixed because it's going to be a beautiful week to get it done.
Oh, I need to because, I'd like 20 acres having first cutting done.
Nice.
And so that'll put those two fields.
It's time now for second cutting.
No, not quite. It's coming. Last of September.
Well, anyway, we appreciate all of our listeners, All About Home Construction here on WATA, and all of our listeners on the podcast, All About Home Construction. So tell your smart speaker to play the podcast. And also, as we found out last week, we're on YouTube. We got the audio up on YouTube as well.
Hey, have to thank
Terry
Cannell Beck.
I'm just happy to have it. It's fun. It's just another way for our listeners to reach out and get a hold of us and listen and get the content. So, yeah, check it out on YouTube. Just type in All About Home Construction on YouTube. Everyone knows how to search that. And, you'll find us. It's pretty cool. Good stuff. We've put it out last week, and we've already got a jump in our listenership from it. So we appreciate it.
All right. Thank y'all.
Yeah, and share this with a friend, right? I mean, if you like it, someone else will like it. Find a friend that likes it and share it. We appreciate it. So,
hey, we're trying to grow up.
That's what we do around here. But anyway, thanks for listening to us. So VFW, how'd the breakfast go?
Great. Thank y'all.
Yeah.
We will be having a breakfast Labor Day weekend.
Okay. That's good to know.
Okay, so
good to know.
We will be open. We're not going anywhere. And, there's always people that don't have a place to go.
Mm-hmm.
So come on and join us.
There you go.
And bring your youngins. We've been, trying to let youngins eat for free.
Nice. That's cool. That's really cool.
We actually, don't mean to change the subject there, but you know what? They ate 8 pounds of bacon last time.
Oh, nice.
And 5 pounds of sausage.
I'm getting a little hungry now.
Well, you'll have to wait.
I could eat probably 8 pounds of bacon by myself.
And
it's not too surprising.
Eat about 3 pounds of ham.
What did I get? I got a while back for my kids. I got one of those 3-pound packs of bacon from the grocery store, and it was all gone.
Well, of course, bacon is bacon.
Bacon's bacon.
And but yeah, we'll be open. So come on and join us.
Nice. So what's going on with the dinner tonight? The steak dinner at the VFW.
Well, thanks everybody for coming out. We're about sold out.
Sweet.
I've got some porterhouse left, and I can't believe the cowboy ribeyes.
That's awesome.
The way people jumped on them, because it is the biggest steak in town.
That's cool. That's tonight, and of course, if you've not already RSVP'd, then you need to call the VFW and get on it because, like you said, you only got a couple.
Yeah, it's very minuscule. Now, I'll have plenty of salmon. Last time I sold out of the Asian glazed salmon.
Mm-hmm.
And also, we're doing something different this time that we've never done before. Sometimes we got to grow up. And people that don't eat meat, more than welcome to come get a baked potato and a salad.
Baked potatoes, yum.
And that's for $10. So you're more than welcome to do that. We got coffee. We got tea.
Baked potato sounds really good right now.
And
with bacon. Oh, now you got me really hungry.
Now I'm going to fry more bacon here now, Terry, because the bacon, there is no store-bought bacon bits. I fried the bacon just for bacon.
All right. Well, you want me to tell you, you can't do this for your dinner, obviously. You've already got it prepped. But here's what you do. You get a good baking potato, right? and you slice it, but you don't slice all the way through. You stop about 2/3 of the way down of the potato, and you slice it like you normally would, and your little slices, and then you get bacon, you cut it up into pieces, and you put that bacon in between those slices, and you fold it all back together. Butter on it, salt and pepper, and bake it.
Yeah. But that's too much work.
But now I'm really hungry.
You'll be all right.
Well, anyway, yeah, steak dinner tonight at the VFW, and I hope that event goes well. That'll be fun.
Well, it'll be the slowest dinner I ever had.
Yeah.
Some of these cowboy ribeyes are 2 1/8 thick.
That's so cool.
And I could not cook one for you because it takes 20 minutes to cook a medium rare, much less a well done.
Well done, and I'll be here tomorrow.
And matter of fact, I've got 2 orders for mediums. I believe I can handle that. Colin brought in a flat top gas grill for me because I'll start them on charcoal and finish them on the flat top.
There you go.
To keep from burning them up. And, did I tell you? The green beans are fried green beans in bacon grease.
No.
With bacon crumbles. Oh, I didn't tell you that, Terry?
Oof.
That goes with the salmon.
You really got me going with bacon now.
So, we try our best to give the best meal in town.
Well, that's awesome. So go check them out at the VFW tonight. Like I said, give them a call if you've not already RSVP'd. That way that you can get the last couple steaks left. Of course, you got the potato bar. You can come, or the baked potato and salad. You can come, and you got some fish left over. So, or
Salmon.
not left over, but fish spots left open. How's that?
Yes, I do. And we're trying our best not to sell out this time.
There you go.
It's a fine line, folks. Between what you have and what you don't have. Mm-hmm. And,
well, especially the way you're doing it, right? It's a fundraiser. You're not a restaurant. You can't save what you have left over for tomorrow, and cook it. You're doing this as a fundraiser and once a month. And anyway, it's pretty cool stuff. It's worth it. It's worth it. Go check them out.
Yep, it is. Thank y'all.
Well, cool stuff. Well, how's the construction world treated you this week?
Pretty good. I was telling Terry we're testing a new product that's been out for a little while, and metal roofs. One of the downfall of it is over time they'll oxidize.
Yep.
And the oxidation is not because of the paint peeling or fading and stuff. It's because of acid rain.
And that's when you get that weird, like whitish rust looking
on it. Yeah, and we found a product that's supposed to be basically a wash and wear.
Nice.
You hose it down, then you spray it, let it set, then hose it off, and that's it.
That's cool.
Now, it does get...
So more or less it's cleaning. It's not painting it or anything like that.
It's cleaning it. Now, I can't guarantee how it's going to do for certain roofing companies that doesn't have like Axel Noble or Sherwin-Williams.
Well, that's what I was wondering. Like if you've got a cheap metal roof with that sort of that cheaper paint on it, what I'm just curious what it would.
Okay. Well, you got to lighten up on it, the cleaning product. But that's the thing. When you're out there trying to save money on metal, sometimes you might not be saving anything.
Right. Well, metal is so different, not just roofing, because, for instance, I was doing, I like to do these weird projects, these history projects, and I was going to dye some leather, and there's a leather dye. I won't give you the whole thing, but basically it's like vinegar and steel wool. It makes this black leather dye, for say a belt or something. Well, I went and got some steel wool, and it was rusting, but it was never really like doing its thing. And I got to researching it, and that particular brand, even though it says steel wool, it doesn't say stainless anywhere on it. It's a little bit of stainless wool.
Really,
it's not the old school steel wool, And so, it made me think, like, with all these metals and these metal alloys, everyone's trying to make a stronger product, but more importantly, they're trying to make it more affordable, right? I mean, any business, the bottom line is they want to make as much money as they can, so they're gonna have the most efficient product they can put out, save themselves money, but still having whatever their quality product is.
Make it last.
And so. Well, but it just made me think, like, if what's essentially a cleaning tool is changed that much. What type of metal alloys. So when I get a roof, we've talked about it before on the roof show, was I'm not buying a tin roof anymore. When I go to Randy's not bringing me tin in when I could buy a tin roof. It's some kind of metal, and it's all these metal alloys, and I don't know. It just made me think about it. Like what's the actual compounds of metals in these roofs, and then what's the difference between the two of them?
There's all right. This was the question that was asked during the week to me. Explain to me the difference in your metal and everybody else's.
Yep.
All right. Now, substrate, they call the steel a substrate, okay? And it's rolled steel.
Right.
It can either be, federal standards is 29 gauge. All right? Mm-hmm. Well, they don't say how you get to 29. Okay? So, see, you can actually have a 30 gauge panel, and when you put the primer, the paint on it, they galvanize the primer and the paint, then all it has to do is just barely cross into the 29.
And then you've got
so it'd be, because when it comes to metal gauges, the lower the number, the thicker the panel.
Right.
Okay? So a lot of substrates coming from China and Mexico, even though they say they meet the ASTM standards, which federal law mandates G60.
Yep.
Okay? And I need to take you a picture up there at our barn lot because I have G60 metal that's we used at the barn lot for our cattle that's been up since 2006. It doesn't have any white rust on it whatsoever.
That's cool, and that's pretty thick stuff.
Yeah.
Pretty heavy.
And saltwater's G90.
Okay.
Well, when you go out here and you go down the road and you see a rusted spot on a roof, that's because it didn't meet the federal standards of G60. Okay.
Yep.
And so everybody goes, well, Randy, you're higher than everybody else. Well, of course, because I want a Galvalume product underneath the primer and the paint. Okay.
Yep.
Because there is no guarantee for galvanized coating under the paint.
Nice. That's good to know.
So with a good Galvalume panel, then primed, then painted, your paint's a 40-year product.
Yep.
All right. Now your Galvalume adds another 20 years to it underneath.
So now you got a 50 to 60-year product.
Yeah, and it should, believe it or not, go 70 years, maybe 80 years.
Yeah.
All right. But the paint's going to be gone.
All right.
But let's say, Terry, you're putting a roof on your house, okay? And, at your age, 40 years from now, if you live that long, you don't want to ever think about having to paint it.
That's the last thing I want to do, yeah.
Correct. And it's like, to give you a good was my mom and dad. My dad got sick. He needed a roof on his house. And I said, well, Dad, I can do this or I can give you the best I got. And he said, I want the best you got because I can't guarantee you how long I'm going to live.
Exactly, yeah.
And he said, I want to make sure your mother's took care of.
Yeah.
Well, my dad's, this is 2002 when we put this roof on.
Yeah.
And
now 20 years later, you don't have to worry about it.
Correct. Yeah. And the thing about it is, that was a Fab-Rail product. That was the company that invented this panel in 1956.
Awesome. Love it.
So, not everything is created equal in the metal. You get what you pay for.
Nice.
And the only thing I want y'all to be prepared about metal is, though, creosote will eat it up, no matter what, if it's a G90, Galvalume, or whatever. So make sure you clean your chimneys.
There you go. Good to know. Thanks for listening to us. We're going to get back on some bacon. No, wait, we're not. We're going to talk about home construction here in just a little bit. Thanks for listening to us. Are you looking for a sawmill dealership that can provide you with the quality equipment you need to get the job done? Look no further than Blue Ridge Sawmills. We offer the full line of Hudson sawmills and sawmilling equipment, from portable sawmills to skidding winches. At Blue Ridge Sawmills, we understand that every project is different, which is why we offer a wide range of sawmilling services. We can help you from everything from finding the right mill for your farm, hobby, or even your business. We also offer a variety of sawmilling supplies such as blades, blades, and debarkers so you can get everything you need in one place. If you're looking for a sawmill dealership that can provide you with the quality equipment and the service you need, then come to Blue Ridge Sawmills. We're here to help you get the job done. Call or visit our Cana, Virginia store at 276-755-3833 or our Asheboro, North Carolina location at 336-964-8304. That's right, all about home construction here on WATA. And again, thanks to all of our listeners out there. Give us a call, 828-262-1567. Reach out to us on Facebook or wherever you're listening to this. Thank you. All right. You know what? I'm going to tie in the actual topic today with bacon because you got me started on bacon. You ready for this? I love bacon, and traditionally in the United States, like when you make your own bacon, what do you do to it? You smoke it, right?
Yeah.
And you hang it up in a smokehouse. Most smokehouses traditionally are made out of wood, or more particular, logs. So here we are. I just tied us into talking about log houses and cabins today here on All About Home Construction.
Yep.
So there we go. Bacon leads to everything. Can't go wrong.
Well, that was the primary way of, you either salted it or you smoked
it, or a little combination of. Yep.
The French had clay pots that they used duck fat to preserve meat in.
Mm-hmm. There.
I can't think of the terminology in that, but
so just to kind of use a broad paintbrush here for the topic. What's the difference between a cabin and a house? A log house versus a log cabin?
Well, you know what? You have to explain that one to me because they look the same.
To me, I think in like culture-wise, in normal vocabulary, to me, it's just the difference of the size, right? Like typically when you say cabin, you're thinking of what probably was originally meant to be a temporary sort of structure. You're going to build the cabin and then you're going to build a larger house, right? So cabins, small bedroom, maybe even one room.
Well, most cabins are only one room.
One room, yeah. Maybe a loft or something at the most. Versus a house where you got multiple rooms. To me, anyway, that's the sort of the differences. It's that a single family occupied building, where the cabin kind of feel to it, right? The smallness. But a log house itself, especially in today's vocabulary, it's multiple rooms. I think that's sort of the gist.
Well, that's about all they had when they come to the New World.
Right. Well, and then that's where I brought up that temporary part, right? Now, I know we've seen cabins, and we have some in the town even, much less the county, that, these log cabins that still survive. But I think traditionally, right, you move when especially here in America, you're talking about settlements, and as your European people, the descendants are moving into, especially here in the high country, the mountains, they're building these log cabins because they can go up fast and quick compared to other houses.
Well, they had the resources. Especially in the coastal area with the pine trees being so straight, so tall, then they weren't limited to odd-shaped logs.
Mm-hmm.
Here in the mountains, we might have a vast variety of log sizes.
Well, but you also have especially when we were settling, we have those chestnut trees, and you have the poplar trees that were, so you start to get some of those options. And one of the most beautiful log cabins I've seen ever. It was probably 20 by 20 at the most. But it had 4 logs on the wall. Like, that's how tall it was. It was 4 logs tall. So we're talking, 8 foot, 10 foot tall.
Oh, yeah.
But it only used 4 logs to make that up, and we're talking 26-inch logs. So you think about it though. Yes, you got to move them around, but when you're going to lay it up, think about stacking up a bunch of sticks to make an 8-foot wall. But if I can use 3 logs to make up that same 8-foot wall, or 4 logs, you know,
Well,
that's
you had to have a lot of people, or you had to
yeah.
have a lot of horses. In the
That's
front.
right.
And
But but my point is though, it's you know, look at your Legos, right? You build with the flat Legos, the small ones. It's going to take a lot more work, a lot more Legos than if you use the big, tall kid Legos.
Yeah. Well, I don't think the first settlers had horses, you
Right.
know, and I think they had their milk cows. I don't know that for a fact.
Right.
And but with ox, they could have moved them.
Right.
And, you know, they were able to move all that stuff because they were grew up learning how to do it.
Yeah, I mean, it was part of life, right?
Yeah. And, you know, most of these log cabins that were stacked like that, they used ropes. Mm-hmm. And they used their animals to pull the log up on an angle, 2 logs on an angle to get up on top. So they had to continuously move around.
Yeah.
Just to build, they had to put a log on one side, log on the other, the end wall. Then they could go to the other side
Work yourself through, yep.
and to make you stand. But you know, getting back to the coast, the abundance of trees at that time, they could have any size tree they wanted.
Yeah.
You know, and an 8-inch log, 16 foot long, would have been easy to move for one person.
Right.
And most of your chinking back then was mud. Mm-hmm. All right. And then later on, as their animals, there's a house here in Watauga County that still was built in the 1800s that used hog hair in the mud, and the hog hair is what's holding the mud on the cabin.
That's cool. That's really cool.
And so they didn't waste anything at all, and you know, their insulation was an animal hide. Mm-hmm. You know, through a wind or something. You had to stop the snow from blowing in somehow. And so you could use a hide as your doorway. But most of your doors, they split out of a tree. They used a froe to break them down.
That's cool.
And most people don't even, now kids today wouldn't have an idea what a froe is. And a froe was used to make shingles.
So if that's the opposite of a 2.
A froe?
To and fro.
Yeah, no, fro's totally different. But they did have an ad.
Yeah. Well, and those tools are really cool, you know. And if you've ever seen someone use those traditional hand tools, like it's some cool stuff with that. You know, you're really relying on the wood itself, the grains and the structure of the wood, versus, you know, when we think of a saw today, right? When I think of any kind of round circular saw blade, you know, it's cutting through, whereas a froe is really relying on that structure of the grain itself to kind of split more
and
than cut.
You had a maul. The froe had a handle on it, and you used the maul to push the froe through.
Yeah.
You couldn't push it by hand, but then that way you could. The reason it had a handle is so you could spread it, and it would follow the grain.
Yep.
There's a shovel handle at the house that Mr. Bill made back in the 60s, and it broke here about 4 or 5 years ago. But it was made out of hickory, and he broke it out with a froe, and he took a spoke shave, and he shaved it down.
That's really cool.
And you know, that's the part of America that the tools that they brought that they had from England, or France or Germany.
Well, I would say a lot of German influences on the woodworking side.
And they did everything by hand.
Yeah.
But everything was sharp. My dad, when he was growing up in Charleston, West Virginia, most of the houses were being built by Germans. Mm-hmm. And the German craftsmanship, and they didn't want to teach anybody how to do anything because they wanted to leave it.
It was a heritage thing.
And their
right.
group thing. Like the Amish barns.
Mm-hmm.
And how they know how to build with wood and tools, you know. And they didn't saw it out. They cut it out with broad axes.
Yeah. Well, and like you said, there's so many specialty tools. I mean, even you know, there's certain specific axes that you use to cut down the sides and you know, make the logs square. They're sort of bent out.
Yeah.
I mean, there's all sorts of sort of like modified, I guess you'd say, tools. But think of the notches themselves. Today it's easy for us to grab, especially if we're working in a log house, you maybe grab even a chainsaw, right, or some kind of saw and cut some notches into it. But some of those are every notch. You got a traditional log house or log cabin, a couple hundred years old. Each notch was cut by hand and sat in place. It wasn't like a factory today where I got a template and a mold where I'm cutting them all out to be the same. They cut the bottom or top of one, and they got to cut the opposite to make it match. And
correct.
Think how many times that you set it down. Okay, now raise that back up so I can take this much off. And so once the log's in place, it's not always in place yet.
That's right. They had chisels, and they used chisels to do the final.
Yep.
What they call it today is a Swedish cope on logs, where they cut it so tight with a chisel
that
cool. When the log sets down, it's supposed to be airtight.
Yep.
And but they did it all by hand.
Isn't that cool?
Matter of fact, you've heard me talk about my house being a 64 model, and some of it, where they had to do it a trim, they trimmed it with a double bit axe, even in 1964.
That's really cool.
Because everything was cut with a handsaw.
Yeah.
It wasn't cut with, they were skill saws, but nobody could afford them.
Yep. Well, I keep thinking, here at the radio station, it's basically across the road from us when you get up to Horn in the West area, but you got the Hickory Ridge Homestead over there, and some of those cabins are just so cool to look at. And, I say that because they're the closest to us right now, but, there's others in the county that you drive by, you can see, and I always enjoy like driving by, go down a country road anywhere, right, and you see these old log houses that are, it's a modern house, sometimes it's even like a 2 or 3 story house, right, with thousands of square feet, but if you look, you can see the original log house or cabin that where the house started out and they've built on, through the decades. I always think that's really cool, and there's one growing up. We go back home towards home. I remember going by it, and it's almost like 2 houses. Like there's like a modern house, and someone slapped an old log house on front.
Yep.
But just the way it was built. They just added on, and it's just cool to me.
Bolick Pottery is supposed to have the first original schoolhouse in Watauga County.
That's cool. Yeah.
And they actually rebuilt it, and it has the wide logs that you talked about in it.
Yeah. Well, when you go back, the estimated the oldest, they believe the oldest timber constructed house is in Finland, and it's 4,000 years old. But there's also, as far as log homes, the oldest reported log homes is in Russia. They found it, and it was from 800 BC. So you're talking, 3,000 years ago, as far as a bigger house. But the largest timber structure, or not the largest, sorry, the oldest is in Finland, about 4,000 years old.
Well, the oldest in the United States is around 1638.
Right? There's some cool ones. When you go into that, 1638, you're talking about Jamestown settlements, right? Like just after that. That was, 1619 when 1610s, 1620s when Jamestown was being settled. We've got a few structures that are just after that, the early 1600s. And that's, to me, it's just so cool. But again, let's put ourselves in the shoes, right, of those settlers. They're coming in here, and they're putting up this structure because they got to put something up fast, right?
Correct.
They're here. Winter's going to be on the way. They've got to worry about food also. So what do? They put up the shelter. They put up the quickest shelter they can. It's amazing. And that goes to show the craftsmanship, right? That this is
Still
up
here.
200 years. Because how many 1960s single wide trailers do we see today? Right, not as many as was sold. So I say that to make to kind of point out that like the craftsmanship that went into these things, that they're still able to stand. So we'll be right back right after this. Thanks for listening to us. Are you looking for a sawmill dealership that can provide you with the quality equipment you need to get the job done? Look no further than Blue Ridge Sawmills. We offer the full line of Hudson sawmills and sawmilling equipment, from portable sawmills to skidding winches. At Blue Ridge Sawmills, we understand that every project is different, which is why we offer a wide range of sawmilling services. We can help you from everything from finding the right mill for your farm, hobby, or even your business. We also offer a variety of sawmilling supplies, such as blades and debarkers, so you can get everything you need in one place. If you're looking for a sawmill dealership that can provide you with the quality equipment and the service you need, then come to Blue Ridge Sawmills. We're here to help you get the job done. Call or visit our Cana, Virginia store at 276-755-3833 or our Asheboro, North Carolina location at 336-964-8304. That's right. All about home construction here on WATA. And again, thanks to all of our listeners out there. Give us a call, 828-262-1567. Don't forget about the steak dinner at the VFW tonight. And if you've not RSVP'd already, you need to go ahead and give them a call at the VFW and get on. Randy's only got a couple steaks left, and but you got plenty of salmon left over.
Yeah. You
got plenty of baked potatoes. But if you want the steak, get in on it because there's only a couple left. So
I figured out how to do the 2-pound steak. If I eliminate the bone, I can cut it out of ribeye loin, and the price will come down.
Nice. But something about a bone-in ribeye, though, buddy.
I know, but golly, I know it's an expensive meal, and that's the reason I said for 2 people.
Right.
You know, and but most of them, believe it or not, are sold for one person because they want to take it. They want to take the Randy Blake challenge on.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. Talking a little bit about log houses and cabins here on the show, and one of my favorite cabins designs are these, like that English style, colonial American style, where there's like 2 rooms. Well, you build a cabin and then you've built another one, but you got that little walkway, breezeway in between.
Yeah,
those, I don't know why. To me, like that's what I think of when I think of a traditional, especially mountains, right? A traditional Appalachian cabin. You got the 1-room cabin, but you've upgraded. Now you got 2 rooms, you know. And I've always just thought those are so cool with that breezeway in between. And especially when we look at, you know, I'm a big fan of the modern stuff, the tiny houses and things, in the micro houses, whatever you want to give them. It's just a throwback to what we were doing 300 years ago.
Well, you know, I'm a big fan of the tiny houses too. So, they've been around a long time,
right?
And they're still here and they're lasting.
That's what's so cool. I want to go back. So we know that, you know, we've talked in one of our shows about, you know, the history of heating and stuff, and we know that in America anyway, traditionally the main source was wood heat, right? Fireplaces. I've always heard that on a traditional log cabin, the fireplace, of course, we've all seen them built out of rocks, and we've seen some where there's no house standing, but we still see a chimney standing up in the air, right? Mm-hmm. But is it true that those are built? Most of the chimneys were built with the intent of pulling it away from the house.
No, actually, North Carolina code now, or in the 21st century, has recognized that chimneys need to be able to be self-supporting. Mm. Okay, no matter where it's built in your house, it has to make sure it don't fall in a manner of a fire.
Right.
Okay, whether it's in the center, where it's on the end, and that's to keep from hurting anybody.
Right. But I've always heard that, you know, traditionally log cabins, the fireplace is built so that if there wasn't ever a chimney fire, you could pull it out away from the house.
Well, if you look back in history, most of them were made out of logs, or not really logs, but poles,
right.
3-4 inch poles. And what they did was they laid the rock, the flue and everything out of rock, but it was dry stacked rock, and all those logs were packed with mud to keep it from expanding into the log cabin and stuff.
Gotcha.
So see, the biggest thing he was worried about that part of it was the rain.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's the reason everything had a taper on it, so everything drips away from
Goes
itself.
away. Okay.
And which, golly, forbid if we ever build a fireplace like that today.
Right.
You know, we'd
You'd never get it passed for sure.
correct. And but that's all they had at the time. And you take a lot of let's say coastal regions, there's no rock, so they couldn't build it. So it all had to be made out of mud.
Okay.
And
Well, I just, but I've always wondered that because I've heard that before. But then, like I said, I mean, how many chimneys do you still see standing? That's 100-year-old chimney. There's no house there, but you can see the chimney still standing.
well, you know what? And those were all put together with mud. There was no mortar in them.
That's really cool.
And so you take a good clay, not necessarily mud, but a clay, okay, and lay it together.
Yep.
And as it bakes, it gets harder.
Right.
And another thing, too, is if you put that chimney together with clay, and as the rock settles from its weight, it's more of a gasket than anything else.
That's cool.
You definitely don't put no hog hair in that.
No, definitely not. But, well, I just think it's so cool. And again, you're going up quick, you're going up fast, especially with a lot of help. You don't have to saw the wood out, right? Like, that's the advantage of traditional log houses. Even if you square them up,
Well,
you're still not cutting boards out. You're saving a lot of work and time.
you can build a log cabin with your axe.
Yep.
Okay, and because you can make a wedge out of a hard piece of wood, multiple wedges, so you can make a maul out of anything that is heavy, and or not heavy, but what I'm talking about is the right grain wood.
Right. So you're going into you're right. You're going into the woods to build this house out in the middle of nowhere, and you're carrying the tools with you that you need, and you're able to from there go make what you need and go from there. But you're carrying in an axe, you're carrying in a crosscut saw maybe, but even I get you.
Because the ships that they sailed on to come to the United States had all the necessary tools to rebuild that ship every time it got damaged. Okay, so they learned how to bend wood, by boiling water, and like in the movie Master and Command, when they got in the fight with that French ship, and it blew the statue off the front, and the woodwright came out and started cutting pieces out so they could laminate another piece there and make it back the same. And the paints back then.
That's cool.
A lot of the paints were from tar, oils, milk.
Yeah, milk paint's a big one.
Matter of fact, we were in a house in 2010 that we took the boards off, and I can't prove it, but I believe that was the first time in my life I'd ever seen milk paint, because that was painted in 1855.
That's awesome. That's real cool.
And
well, they still make milk paint today. It's just not cheap, but you can still get it.
I don't want it.
Well, I mean, I say it's not cheap. Like, I've seen some for, I think it was a quart, and the quart was like $30-$40.
Really?
Yeah.
No VOCs?
I guess not. I hadn't thought about it. Yeah, you're right. But, yeah. You had mentioned earlier about the Romans. The Romans knew of log houses, but it was not really developed in the Roman area. It was really developed in the Scandinavia, like that Eastern European area. Which you think about it, Scandinavia, then you start thinking about the Vikings. Yeah, it makes sense. That's sort of where the traditional Viking house is made out of logs.
A lot of spruce up it.
Yeah. So
we actually got some spruce from Sweden one time.
That's cool.
Back in the 90s, and you talking about really pretty lumber. It was.
Well, I just don't think without the log cabin, I don't think the North American continent could be colonized the way it did. As fast and as quick as it did.
I agree with you.
We'll take another break. We'll be right back right after this. Thanks for listening. Are you looking for a sawmill dealership that can provide you with the quality equipment you need to get the job done? Look no further than Blue Ridge Sawmills. We offer the full line of Hudson sawmills and sawmilling equipment, from portable sawmills to skidding winches. At Blue Ridge Sawmills, we understand that every project is different, which is why we offer a wide range of sawmilling services. We can help you from everything from finding the right mill for your farm, hobby, or even your business. We also offer a variety of sawmilling supplies, such as blades and debarkers, so you can get everything you need in one place. If you're looking for a sawmill dealership that can provide you with the quality equipment and the service you need, then come to Blue Ridge Sawmills. We're here to help you get the job done. Call or visit our Cana, Virginia store at 276-755-3833 or our Asheboro, North Carolina location at 336-964-8304. That's right, all about home construction here on WATA. Thanks to all of our listeners out there. We really appreciate everyone on the podcast as well, and here on WATA on Saturday mornings. And then, as we said, YouTube, Randy. Randy's a YouTube star. Video killed the radio.
I don't know about that. I can't break anybody's TV because they can't see me.
Yeah, well, you got a face for radio, I'll give you that.
Thank you. You know what they say, don't you?
Yeah.
It's mighty nice.
Yeah, you know. Anyway, all about home construction here on WATA, talking a little bit about log houses and cabins, and just the fact that they've been around forever. It's awesome. But I really like that look of a log cabin, that traditional American heritage type style, I guess you would say. It's probably got a lot fancier name than that, but when you think of like colonial style, though, you think of the brick houses and that look, but you get that, and I hate to use the word rustic because log houses can be pretty elegant.
Yes, they can,
and that's, I've never really liked that rustic term because I think it diminishes the craftsmanship that goes into building a traditional log house.
Well, log houses have a tendency to last. Mm-hmm. Think about the ones you see today. You
right
go out on the Parkway and places like that. Most log cabins cut out of first growth trees.
Right, so the grain is a lot tighter.
And
that brings up a question then. So, typically today when we order a kit or some kind of, we put up a log house today, you're talking what, 6-8 inch logs width?
Minimum 6 inches for the coat.
And that's what I was getting to, right? Is because at that, right, isn't wood like 1 inch R value?
It is
per inch.
But now, correct. But when we get into a log cabin, then you can turn around and use the U value, okay? And the U value is the amount of time that it takes the cold to come into the inside.
Gotcha. Okay.
So
that's what I've always wondered. So if you got a 10, so that's how you're able to get this a fairly energy efficient log house today.
Correct. We've got one here on Rainbow Trail that we CO'd in 2000. Okay, and which we really appreciated the homeowner because his wife was finicky. She didn't know what she wanted.
Right.
Okay, so we got to stack the logs, set the windows, set the doors, put the roof on it, and let it set for 8 months.
So it did all that settling.
So it did all the settling.
Yeah.
And then we came back in, and we actually used the National Historical Registry for chinking in it, so it's mortar.
Yeah. Well, so that's where the problem is, right, with log houses in terms of efficiency is the gaps in between, what you fill up with chinking. But, we've all seen, I remember early 2000s when everything, when the boom was going on, I remember houses going up, and there was a few houses that I went into, and you could see daylight coming through the corners.
Correct. And so with them, well, we're a lot better off than the people in the old age, but they could use pitch and tar, okay, right, which North Carolina had abundance of.
Right.
And we use a log caulking that we put in every joint. So when we set the logs down, they actually made a gasket in them.
Yeah.
The biggest thing we found one time, I was walking up the stairs. We still maintain that house today, and I seen a gap between two logs, and there had been a bug that had actually got in there and eat the caulk out. So here I'm going, how am I going to push that in there?
Yeah.
And Gorilla Glue first come out.
Okay. Or expanded.
Yeah, so I took a Gorilla Glue and put it in a turkey baster, cut the end off the turkey baster, and I squirted it in there. And you have to be real careful with it because it foams.
Yep.
So it actually foamed up and sealed the hole.
That's awesome.
But it did not leak back in the inside.
That's impressive, yeah.
Or it didn't leak out to the outside. So
good for you.
So I know where the joint is, so I can go back and check from time to time.
That's awesome.
But to give you an idea, they had a guest there, and the homeowner called me and said, "Hey, Randy, I need you to go check out my house for me because I think that the gentleman that we had there left the heat on 80 in the house."
Ugh.
And it was a cold time, but I had to go in and had to turn all the faucets on high, so it would steam the house to get the tongue and groove to lay back down. It was just about to the point that it's going to come off the wall.
Oh, no.
And
wood. You got to love it. Well, I think it's so fun. I mean, I love the house. And like I said, the fact that you can get energy efficient houses still today, to me, goes back and proves the point of why traditional log houses are cool, are so cool, so awesome.
Well, if you take care of them, they'll last.
There you go. But all that from bacon. Can you believe it? Speaking of bacon, if you wanted to put bacon on your potatoes, Randy's got the bar tonight set up at the VFW. Of course, potatoes are your side item for most people because you're going to be getting a nice steak. So go check out the steak dinner tonight. And again, if you've not RSVP'd, you better hurry up and call because he doesn't have a ton of those steaks left.
I don't.
So you want to get over there and get that. So, Randy, have fun tonight.
But if you want salmon, come on.
Well, I don't like salmon. I'm going to eat steak.
Well, how can I cook a well-done steak 2 inches thick?
I don't know. We'll find out. Thanks for listening to us all about home construction. Again, thanks for all of our listeners, whether you're on the radio or on the YouTube channel now or on the podcast. So thanks so much for that. Thanks for reaching out during the week. And Randy, I guess we'll wrap this show up and we'll see everyone next week.
All right.
That's it. Don't forget, Watauga School is starting back. If you see those big yellow buses, stop for them.
Yes, pay attention to our children.
That's it. Well, Randy, we'll see you next time. Take it easy, man.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to our podcast all about home construction. Our show airs live on WATA Radio in Boone, North Carolina every Saturday morning. Check out our Facebook page, All About Home Construction. Leave your tips and comments there. Also, subscribe, like, and share this with a friend.